Hello and welcome everybody to this video guide. My name is Sion and I'm a Shinagawa speedrunner. I decided to make this guide to share all of the knowledge that I know of backup strats, money management strats, and what to watch out for mid-run to make sure that you always finish a run, and to also answer some generally asked questions. This guide doesn't go over every single scenario where things are doomed or where the run can be saved, but it definitely highlights the ones that you should really know about and surely have in mind if you want to finish a run. It's also worth noting that this isn't a tutorial and this video does assume that you know the route, so I won't be breaking down everything you need to do in between fights unless it's related to money management. If there's any other questions you want to ask me, just leave them in the comments below, and with that being said, I'll get on into the first question, which is, why is the game run in Japanese? Most of us who first played this game had the chance to do it through the Eon Genesis English patch. However, there's a huge downside to that version, where due to the English text having been hacked into the game, the text scroll speed is a lot slower than its Japanese counterpart, and the number of text boxes is also increased. And this difference in scroll speed and the number of text boxes adds up a lot and makes the total time of the run be a lot bigger if you want to run in English. Specifically, the credits end up running for a lot longer. So ultimately, running on the English patch version will always be slower than the Japanese version. But however, given that there are 7 demons that we need to recruit throughout the run, and several items and magic names that we have to memorize, it's perfectly okay, and in fact it's recommended that you start off running the game using the English version. Is there movement tech in this game? Yes and no. There isn't anything too important, however, in 3D dungeons. If you mash up, that is a faster way of movement, and the difference is pretty relevant, especially in long corridors and in the last dungeon. Why is the category named No Major Glitches? So some glitches in SMT1 are completely unavoidable, whilst others are simply not allowed in a speedrun. Glitches that changes the money management, glitches that lead to out-of-bounds glitches like Heroin Clone or the Annihilation glitch. Any out-of-bounds or bug demon is completely prohibited. However, there are other glitches that are unavoidable. When using Istoma, every single demon is going to disappear, whereas usually Istoma simply repels demons that are below your level. Another example is Magic Preemption, a glitch that greatly influences how the run is routed. More importantly, one of the exploits that is used in the speedrun and led to one of the major reroutings that happened last year is the Triesto exploit. Triesto is usually supposed to put you in front of the building that it removes you from, or in front of the dungeon that it removes you from. However, in SMT1, Triesto puts on top of the building, and in a specific point of the run, this lets you bypass an entire event that leads you to skip an entire dungeon. What is Magic Preemption? Magic Preemption is a glitch that leads to magic having preemption in a battle, whoever is using it regardless of their speed stat. So speed is only relevant when 2 characters are both using magic at the same time, in which case the higher speed stat prevails. This glitch is particularly relevant because it's influenced by the party order. This glitch is only activated when magic is the last action being taken in a party. So if neither your party or the enemy party uses magic, then magic preemption will not be activated. Magic preemption also leads to item preemption being activated, which is a consequential glitch that leads to items always being the second action that takes place after all the magic actions have happened. The first backup strat that you really know about is the Douman backup save. Douman is the first big run killer, so if there's any way that you can save before the fight and have more runs go past Douman, that's the best thing you could do. Douman is quite dangerous. It uses Shibuya, which can bind your entire party, and if it binds Law Hero or Chaos Hero, then your chances of survival are quite low. So for safety, after collecting Chaos Hero, make sure to go to the Nokushira Park to the shopping section right away. That way you can save right after the bomb fight and getting Pascal, and if something bad happens and you have to reset, we can just start right after the fight and go right to Douman, so you don't have to do the shopping section again and waste time doing that again. If Law Hero or Chaos Hero die during the fight, that's generally okay. You will have to waste more time grinding afterwards, but you can keep the run going. If both die, however, you should probably reset. To revive them after you head to the laboratory after fighting the first orc, just talk to Steven and say yes, no, and he should revive your entire party and heal you up. Survive against Ozawa, use the Holy Water with Chaos Hero along with using Chaos Hero's Algilao. This way, even if Chaos Hero dies to move on, you'll still survive the fight. And if anyone else dies, that's perfectly fine, you should really just survive. After selling Heroine's gun, buy enough charms to leave around 4 through 5k yen left. This should be enough to last you the entire run if you're lucky in terms of charms, and the amount of money left should last you for the rest of the negotiations. In this dungeon, our purpose is to visit Gouto and leave as fast as possible. However, we also need to recruit Azumi. If it takes too long to spawn, then take the elevator and go to the basement. There, the spawn rate feels like it's higher, so your chance of seeing an Azumi should be a little higher. Also, there's a chest that contains an aquamarine that can be exchanged for an item that can be sold later for money, so that could be worth picking up if you haven't found an Azumi. If you have, however, it's really not worth bothering. To survive against Thor, make sure to have the party order be Azumi, Pyrojack, Goblin, Hero, Heroine. Use Zio with Azumi along with throwing a charm with Hero. The Zio should stun Thor into not attacking if it hits, and if the charm hits, it'll charm him, which renders him completely harmless. After 2 turns of using Tarakaja with Goblin, you can just auto. He should die pretty quickly, and if at any turn he attacks you and someone dies, as long as it's not a hero or heroine, then you can keep going and you just need to use another charm to charm him again. Red Phantom is a pretty scary fight. Make sure to have the party order be Azumi, Goblin, Pyrojack, Hero. Every turn Zio should hit and stun Red Phantom while Goblin uses Makakaja and Pyrojack uses Agilao. You should do that for 2 turns and then Hero can start throwing Hamayas until you only have 1 left, then he should just defend. If Goblin dies, you can still attempt to win the fight. You can summon Imp to use Zanma, or you can just keep the party going and just try to win. If Pyrojack dies, you can replace him by summoning Imp again, just go to the comp and summon him. If Azumi dies, then the situation gets pretty complicated because you can stun him and he'll start attacking like crazy, but in general the fight should go well and it should end in 4 turns. When you get to Shinjuku, you should go to the rags and exchange whatever gems you have. After bookmarking the terminal, you go to the junk shop and you sell the free main swords that you got in Kongo Shinkai so that you can afford a Hiraya and a gold pill. Other than that, if you have any item drops like a bead, you can even sell the Soma. If you got the aquamarine and you sold it for an angel hair, you can sell that because it values for a lot of money. And if you want some extra pocket money, you can sell Chaos Series equipment, which is right at the bottom of the list. So if you go up from the first listing, you should get right to the bottom and you can just sell those. And that way you have more money and you can buy an extra gold pill if you want to. Minakata can drop a strong weapon that a heroine should equip, so if you get that drop, make sure to equip it on her as soon as she joins. In Shinjuku, you have to fix your alignment to get back to neutral. You can heal after fusing Chaos Hero at the healer that's right next to the fusion mansion, or you can heal when you get to Shibuya, which is what I usually do. Whether you have or haven't healed yet to set the alignment, make sure to always heal demons because they cost less money and you're pretty tight on money during this section. Don't revive anybody using the healer, use Law Hero Summer Recarn because it's free. When you get to the healer, however, in Shibuya, buy 4 Tamagairis, believe 196 Maka to summon Kushinada Hime, which you'll fuse right after. You'll need a total of 1068 Maka if you need to summon Kushinada and Goblin, 1284 Maka if you need to summon Kushinada and Q-Sith, and 1476 Maka if you need to summon all 3, so beware of that. And if need be, don't buy one of the Tamagairis or go to the junk shop which is right next to the healer and sell something that might have dropped. Arachne is the big boy of the run. Make sure to have the party order be Kushinada, Goblin, Hero, Law Hero, Q-Sith. It needs to be this party order. If you have enough money, return Q-Sith, but it's preferable to keep it in party. It's the usual boss strat. You make sure to charm the boss in an attack as it's immovable or attacking itself. It's important that every turn you try to use a charm neither Law Hero or Q-Sith or anyone who ends up at the bottom of the party uses magic, because if you do, then Arachne will kill you, believe me. After 5 Makakajas, which Goblin should be using every turn, there's no need for any more, so you can just stop and defend with him. If Law Hero dies at any point, try to charm Arachne, and then while it's charmed, revive Law Hero using the gold pill and return its HP and MP using the Soma. This try is obviously risky, but it could turn out okay. It's overall a struggle, but if you're lucky enough, Arachne will stay charmed, and while you're using Makakaja, Law Hero should be using Zanma, and Arachne will just die like that. Nothing much to point out for Nebiros. Make sure to return Q-Sith first turn and to return Goblin after he casts 2 Tarakajas to then auto. Recharm when needed and heal Kushinada if it's near death. It's more important to avoid deaths than it is to stop auto, so just stop auto whenever and heal up if needed. If you need to revive Goblin or Q-Sith after Nebiros, there are 2 possible ways. The more expensive way is to go to the junk shop in Ginza and buying 2 gold pills to revive them and then heal their MPs with Kushinada's Makatora. The cheaper option is, when saving in Ginza, transfer to Shibuya to go to the healer that's right next to the terminal and heal that way. It's important not to heal at the Gaia and Ueno, as that switches the alignment to Chaos and stops you from being able to summon Kushinada after Ladon, which consequently stops you from being able to use a Stoma, which is the most important spell of the entire run and game, I'd say. If you run out of charms after this fight, then try Esto outside and re-enter Roppongi to use its terminal to transfer to Shinjuku. There's a Messiah Church right next to the terminal, just a Stoma and head there. Each charm costs 160 Maka, so you should be able to afford at least 3 or 4, which are enough for Ladon. When entering Ladon's fight, return either right before the fight or mid-fight both Kushinada and Q-Sith. Charm Ladon and then use 4 Tarukajas, which is around 16 MP, before returning Goblin as well. If the charm wears out at any point and Heroine dies, for example, then revive her with any remaining gold pills and recover her MP and MP with Soma. If you don't have a Soma anymore, then you can just gamble with auto without healing and hope the charm doesn't wear out anymore. If Heroine dies, however, that's not very good. As you might imagine, you probably have to reset or reload a save, and if you run out of charms, that's also pretty complicated. So those are the worst case scenarios. When you get to Shinagawa, make sure to stop by the Messiah to heal and buy more charms to have at least a total of 5. Charms against Echidna tend to be not very reliable, so try to have a good amount and just hope it works. Also, buy at least 3 Seigakimais to use against the Devas. The biggest shopping section is done in Ginza's weapon and armor shops. When you get to TDL, you want to traport to get right back to Ginza. If you've saved anywhere before Ginza, then you just enter the terminal and transfer right there. Once you get there, you head to the weapon shop. You sell the magician mask for 75,000 Maka, but you need at least 82,880 for all the purchases. So if you have any item drops or other sellable items, sell them to try and get to the price. If not, and you only have exactly 75k, then you skip the Atlas gloves and Kinshin gloves. The order of priority in the items to buy is first the guns and bullets, then the tetradramas, then the dark crown, then the metal boots, then the Kinshin gloves, and then the Atlas gloves. You should leave Ginza with 20k Maka in order to afford the bullets, so shop according to that. When you get to Echidna, you can return demons before the fight, just like Ladon, or you can just return them mid-fight. However, I'd say Echidna is more likely to kill your demons first turn, so I'd say it's a pretty reasonable safety strat to just return them before the fight. You only leave Goblin, Hero, and Heroine as the party composition. Use a charm first turn, and then return Goblin after 4 Tarukajas, and you just use Gun meanwhile. Then as soon as Goblin is gone, you can just auto and recharm whenever needed. Echidna can paralyze or freeze you if he comes out of charm, which is extremely annoying if you don't have a Soma anymore to heal it, but that's just the worst case scenario, and I like to say that generally that doesn't happen. If one of the characters is dead when the fight ends, that's also not too bad because the XP evens out later, so you're not at a danger if one of the characters dies. It's really just more important to survive. Finally, the Cathedral. It's important to move fast and efficiently, and that's about it. But it's not that easy because there's going to be a lot of movement and you need to do it fast and efficiently, just like I said. Before the Chaos Hero in the Lilith fight, equip the Lotus Wand and the Magician Mask on Heroine, which will curse her. This will prevent the strongest hitter in our party, which is her obviously, from getting charmed, which wastes a lot of time and is extremely dangerous. Against Asura, make sure to keep HP over 200. If the HP is too close to 200, your hero can still die from Megidolon, which is annoying enough because you have to recarm him, and sometimes that doesn't work out very well because you're going to keep getting hit by Asura. The entire time you should be using gun with hero and gun with heroine so that both can bind Asura. You need to watch out for the text box that says Asura is bound and get used to it because in Japanese it goes by very quickly. As soon as Asura is bound, you have to summon Goblin and then use Tarukaja, and whilst Goblin is using Tarukaja, just defend with both hero and heroine, which will make the turns go by a lot faster. And 6 Tarukajas is ideal and what you should aim for, but you just need to keep using Tarukajas and hope it lasts for as long as possible. And as soon as Goblin either dies or the 6 Tarukajas are over, you switch to gun plus sword, and you start doing the big damage. Hopefully Asura gets bound and hopefully the fight ends like that. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. I'll try to make another guide or some sort of compilation to try and help with negotiation skills. Follow me on Twitch if you want to see my speedruns, but other than that, thank you for watching.